What's up guys, Shades here, and welcome back to another Wondershare Filmora tutorial. Today, I'll be showing you how to make your very own subscribe button with animations. Remember, if you enjoy content like this and you'd like to see more in the future, you go smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a new video. So let's jump into Filmora and get started. So let's begin by going to our sample colors and placing the red and green swatches onto our timelines, like so. Now go to your Titles tab, scroll down to the Plain Text subgroup, and drag the Basic 6 text onto your timeline. Lastly, you'll need a PNG of a mouse cursor. Make sure it has a transparent background, otherwise you will not be able to get the desired result. Now select your Basic 6 text by left-clicking and then right-clicking to bring up a set of commands. Find the duration command and set the duration of the text to be 4.5 seconds. Because my project is done in 60 frames per second, that means I'll set my duration for 4 seconds and 30 frames, but your project may vary depending on the frame rate you use for your project. Now drag your Basic 6 text so that all the tracks are aligned at the end of the animation like I have done here. It is at this point that I change the text in the top left menu from the Basic 6 insert to subscribe. Now that you've changed your text, it's time to resize the red swatch. Go ahead and left-click the swatch to select it, then start dragging the red swatch into a rectangular shape that surrounds your subscribe text. Go ahead and pause this video and play around with the size of the red swatch until you get something you like. But before we get too far into this tutorial, I would like to thank Wondershare Filmora for partnering up with Umbral coffee sticks. Their software is super easy to understand and makes editing a breeze. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, go down in the description below and try it for free. Then you can do all the awesome tricks I'm about to show you starting now. Now that you've sized your red swatch, it's time to start making the animations. Go over to the start of your timeline and hide the track with your PNG mouse cursor image, and lock your track with the subscribe text like so. Now I make sure my red rectangle is centered on my screen, and I make some minor adjustments to the size to make things look as even as possible. After that is all set to go, bring your timeline guide to the start of the text file. Keep your red swatch selected. Now go up to your top left menu and select the Animation tab. Then select Customize. Here we will add keyframes to make our animations manually. Now move your timeline guide forward 1/4 of a second, or in my case 15 frames, and add your first keyframe. Keep that keyframe selected and reduce the scale to 0%. When you have that done, move your guide forward another 1/4 second. Add your second keyframe and make the scale there 100%. Now pause this video and run your animation through to make sure your red rectangle appears from thin air to the size you set it to be in your previous steps. If you hit play again, that tells me it worked and you're ready for the next step. Now move your guide forward to the 2.5 second mark in your animation. Add your third keyframe, then move your guide forward 1/4 of a second, add your fourth keyframe, and change the scale to 90%. Now move your guide forward by a little less than 1/4 second. I move mine forward 10 frames because my project is set at 60 frames per second. Add your fifth keyframe and change the scale to 100%. This should make it look like your rectangle has been clicked on. Now it is time to make the button disappear. Move your guide forward another 1/4 of a second, add a sixth keyframe, then move your guideline forward another 1/4 second. Now add your seventh and final keyframe on this track and change the scale to 0%. Now play it all back and make sure the rectangle appears, looks like it gets clicked on, and then disappears shortly afterwards. Now it is time to make your cursor appear on the screen and click your subscribe button. Go make your cursor PNG visible again on the far left of your timeline. Move your guide to a position on the timeline where only your cursor is visible. Then scale down the size of your cursor if you want to. Once that is all done, you'll need to drag the cursor PNG off the viewing screen on the top right before making your custom animation. Once the cursor is off screen, but somewhere you can still click it and move it around, right-click to select the cursor PNG in your timeline and go to the 1.5 second mark in your animation. add your first keyframe in that track, and then right-click the third keyframe in your red swatch track. This will move your guide to align exactly where the red rectangle starts to be clicked on. Now reselect the cursor PNG in your timeline and add the second keyframe for that track. Once you have done this, move your PNG cursor from outside the viewing frame of the screen in the top right to hover over some piece of your red rectangle. Now you have completed your first movement animation by moving the cursor as an object. Now select the fourth keyframe on the red swatch track. Reselect the cursor PNG track and change the scale of the cursor to 80%. You'll see I wasn't a fan of where the cursor was positioned, so I changed it to be more to my liking. The animation tools can be finicky once in a while, so don't be afraid to delete a keyframe or undo a couple steps to make adjustments. Believe me, you'll be much less frustrated by taking a couple steps backwards rather than trying to make tiny adjustments for hours and still not getting the desired effect. Now, you can probably guess what I'm going to say next, but go ahead and select your fifth keyframe on your red swatch track. Then reselect your cursor PNG track and add the fourth keyframe to that track. Change the scale of the cursor back to 100%. From that keyframe, move your guide forward a little less than a quarter second and add a fifth keyframe to that track. Then roughly line up your guide with the sixth keyframe on the red swatch track before adding the sixth keyframe to your cursor PNG track. Change that keyframe's opacity to 0%. Now the mouse cursor will appear on screen, click the subscribe button, and then vanish into the background. I know this has been pretty intensive so far, with a lot of precision and clicking, but I promise we are almost done. Lastly, we need to make the text for the subscribe button appear and then disappear. Doing this is a little different, as it doesn't involve keyframes and requires you to use the Advanced tab at the bottom right of your top left menu. Once inside the Advanced menu, go up to the top left and click on Animation. Here are a whole bunch of preset text animations. I prefer typewriter for my subscribe button, but feel free to select whatever animation you like. To select the animation, just double-click it and it will add it to your text. Once added to your text, you'll need to align these bars like I'm doing to figure out where I want my text to start appearing and where I want it to disappear. You will also see I play around with the text further and I shorten up the duration of the animation to get the desired effect that I wanted with this subscribe button. Here's a quick montage of me working more on my subscribe button because I was unhappy with the way the button was looking. After I got the subscribe button in a place I was happy with, I went back into the advanced menu for the subscribe text. I added a thin black text border and a dark gray drop shadow. Then I selected my red swatch and added a drop shadow to that track. Then I saved and ran through my animation a few times to make sure it was exactly what I wanted. And that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time right here on UCS. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoy our content and want to see more in the future, be sure to like the video down below and comment on what you would like to see us do next. To see our latest video, click here, and to subscribe to the channel, click here. Have a great day, and we'll catch you next time on UCS.